Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about two different types of pruning cuts that are essential to know to prune your fruit trees and pretty much any other plant. And these are heading and thinning cuts. Now when you prune fruit trees and even ornamentals, it is a good idea to incorporate both of these, and I'll explain why. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a thinning cut, and this basically is when you're pruning a branch all the way back to its original origin or back to another branch versus mid-cut through the branch, and I'll explain that in a bit. So I'm gonna show you one here. A lot of times these are used for when you're pruning a fruit tree when you have branches going in, right? You don't want a lot of growth in your fruit trees. You want air and sunlight to get in, so you want to remove the branches that are going inwards. So this is where I'm going to do basically a thinning cut. I'm going to remove this whole entire branch here back to its original origin. Of course, we're going to go stay outside the branch collar. We're going to do a clean cut, no nubs, right? Could have done a little bit better than that. There we go. No need to put any paint or anything on a pruning cut. If you prune it properly, it will heal itself. The only thing I would avoid is pruning right before 2 days, a day before heavy rains. Now that is going to be your thinning cut. Now you could do a combination of thinning cuts to drop the height as well. So if you don't want to just give your tree a buzz cut, it's a good idea to incorporate thinning cuts once again to thin out the center, to remove any crossing branches, and to drop the height. Now I'm going to show you now a heading cut. Now a heading cut is when you prune back to a node that is basically a bud, a dormant bud. This will help you sort of direction growth your plant. So take for example right here, this branch here. I have this branch growing this way, this one sort of growing up this way. If I want a branch growing outwards because I'm trying to create that nice vase shape on my fruit tree, I am going to heading cut this one back to here. Or like I said, you know, you could prune it back to a dormant bud right there, right? You don't want to do a heading cut with a bud facing inwards because then that growth is going to be inwards. So when you're pruning fruit trees, it is a good idea to do both heading and thinning cuts. And of course, I incorporate these in pretty much any ornamental plants that you're doing. But it's key to prune either one of these two ways. You never want to just prune intermittently mid-branch because you're going to get a nub. That nub is going to eventually die, and what could happen is that is a perfect area to allow bacteria and fungus in. So that's why you want to prune back to a branch collar, an existing larger branch, or a bud. And remember, don't paint them. The plants could heal themselves perfectly well. So hopefully that helped you a little bit in pruning your plants.